All right.
Alrighty.
Oh, alrighty
Alrighty.
then. Dude, you see how they cloned him?
No, his publicist came out and said he's just fucked up.
His publicist is gay?
I actually had to look up.
I didn't even know his publicist was gay.
Sorry, that joke went so over my head. That was so quick.
Congratulations, Jim Carrey's publicist. Welcome back to another episode of Across the Ditch. And I'll tell you what, Paddy, we got some good feedback on our first episode back.
We did. Even some great edits.
Yeah,
we have the fighters. The fighters watch our episodes.
I was blown away. So thank you guys for making us feel so welcome in the comeback. I had no clue. That went over way better than I was expecting it to.
Now that I think about it, I think you got all the good feedback.
That's pretty typical.
Yeah,
Shout
you
out,
are the professional. Remember, you're a
Case's
legitimate
mom.
journalist. Oh yes, what about that? Shout out Murdochs.
Yep,
Big fan.
Shout out the Murdochs.
We'll get you that chocolate milk.
But the Murdochs are not fighting, so we're in a double shot episode. Bang bang, the 1-2 punch. We are talking today about Eternal 104 on the Gold Coast of Australia.
And Stealth Fighters League 4 in Auckland, which is actually taking place for the first time ever. Open show, MMA, open skies, under the stars. It's at a tennis arena.
Hell yeah, dude.
So shall we flip a coin to see who goes first?
Yeah. You're the coins are. Oh, never mind. I'll be the coins are.
My coin's over there, and I don't want to get up.
All right.
Because I've got the perfect shot. Fuck it, I'll start. SFL.
No.
SFL.
No.
All right, so this Saturday we have SFL 4, and it is taking place at Manuka Doctor Arena. Manuka Doctor is a honey brand, so they have sponsored the ASB, well, it used to be the ASB Tennis Arena, I think. So yeah, this is a really cool event venue-wise because it's taking place under the stars. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? What happens if it rains? Good question. I found out this week it's going to happen the next day. That's the current rain plans. Quick tangent. Weather in Auckland. Great news. It's only overcast Saturday, Sunday. So we should be sweet as, bro.
So what day is SFL then?
It's on Saturday.
Okay, cool. So only the 2 days that the event might be is it overcast?
And the Monday. Imagine if they have to push it 2 days.
Imagine if they push it to Tuesday.
But so this is SFL is kind of obviously a new promotion, with it being the fourth one. It's not run by a gym, and the guys kind of it's very much a learning experience on the go for the boys running it, and the team kind of keeps getting smaller and smaller, from my understanding. But the passion's there to grow MMA, and it's another fight show, so I am here for it. So let's get into it, because we're going through 2 events today. The first 3 fights I'm going to be talking about, they're all first timers that from gyms I don't really know, and I think they're more coming over from striking, given their first go in MMA. So we're blasting through these ones pretty quick, and all of these fights up until we get to the last 3 aren't going to be in any particular order, because they haven't actually released the fight card yet. So we're going to start with Henare Knox Ngahuri, and he is fighting against Howard Sililoto. And Henare is from Tao Muay Thai in Hamilton, and Howard is from Smack Gym, which I do know Smack Gym. Smack Gym is where like the Nance Hansen and that come from. Very big kickboxing gym in Auckland. So this is an amateur fight, and it says a little bit about the boys. It says, when the big boys step into the cage, there's no easing into it. Power, pressure, and momentum shift in an instant. Both heavyweights will be looking to make a statement and leave their mark on the night. So I imagine the fighting's going to start with these 3. And so after that, we have a featherweight matchup between two new rookies, and we have Lyrical Wharewaka, a young gun with no fear, the second fighter out of a rival city MMA. Rival's not one you hear of very often, so another kind of up-and-coming gym to putting fighters out there. And standing across from him is Lorenzo Federica, an undefeated kickboxer making his transition into his first MMA fight. and he also trains out of Soma and Oliver MMA South. So these are both gyms we do know. Soma being in Bali, and Oliver MMA South. We saw a few of their fighters fighting on Shuriken last week, with such as Ants Vitale, um, who's the Adam Nian fights out of there. A lot of Auckland MMA guys cross train out of Oliver South. Then moving on to the next one after that, we have a light heavyweight matchup, and it is between Sol Anderson, also fighting out of Rival MMA, and he is up against Mace Elise, a talented kickboxer who's also undefeated, and he also fights out of Soma and Oliver MMA. So when these two fights start taking place, I imagine both those gyms are going to be very, very vocal, particularly on the walkouts and stuff. And I imagine the first one that talked about heavyweight and the light heavyweight, they're probably going to have finishes. You know, the chances obviously go up with the when the big boys go to play. And then we get to some amateur fights who have some records. And this is one that we do know. One Nixon Ninja Suddens from City Kickboxing.
Yeah, Ninja.
So he is 6-0, undefeated amateur fighter, and he is going up against Jacob Tuano, who is 5-1. So they both have the same kind of experience in the cage. Nixon being predominantly a wrestler and jiu-jitsu. He kind of, in his last fight, it was definitely his hardest fight yet. He went up against Sukman Athwal from Extreme, and Sukman dropped him twice in the first round. Nixon was obviously experimenting with the hands there, and then in the second round he came back and just absolutely dominated him on the ground. He's like, I spoke to him afterwards. He's like, I had to do what I had to do to win, you know. And then we've got Jacob Tuano fighting out of Nitrix Fitness, Australian fighter too. So this is an amateur fight where he's making the jump across the ditch, which
The name of the show.
it's oh my god, I actually didn't do that on purpose either. I mean, these ones are challenging, I think, for the person, because this is when it's a passion project, right? Because amateur fighters don't get paid. I don't think they get their travel costs are paid for. So he's paying to come over and fight. So I guess his stakes are higher. But I imagine Jacob probably has more cage fight experience than Nixon MMA wise, because Nixon has just finished all of his fights incredibly quickly. So if I'm looking at his record: decision, TKO, submission, second round. Yeah, a lot of full length fights. So he does have more experience in general in the cage. But Nixon's been training since he is 6 years old, and he's like 21 now, 20. So he essentially has a lifetime of experience already. So that's going to be a very, very exciting fight. And Tuano is on a 4-fight win streak, and Nixon's on a 6-fight win streak. So I'm really looking forward to that clash.
Shout out to Gloria Suddens.
Yeah, shout out to Mama G, Gloria's mum. She was pretty much my main coach while I did my altar. Yes, Eugene was the head coach, but Eugene was obviously, he has head coach responsibilities. So Mama G was with us there the whole time. Super lovely.
We love
Next
Mama
up,
G.
we know. Next up, we have another CKB fighter we know, one Maynard Peel.
Yo, the BMX bandit.
I mean, he is a former BMX champion, and he was competing overseas when he's like made the decision that he wanted to switch to MMA, and crazy. Imagine that conversation with his parents. Say that's they would not have been pleased.
Yeah, you go from doing something that's an Olympic sport to I want to go punch on with people.
Yeah. And he is up against Rika Kireopa, and their records are 3-1 and 3-1. So
Someone's one has to go.
Someone's one has to go. And so that's kind of a very interesting fight. And so Maynard is a double champion. He is the middleweight champion for Shuriken Fight Series, amateur champion both these fights, and the amateur Hex middleweight champion. So those were both his last two fights, and he is coming in on a 4-fight win streak. And Rika is coming off a win, but he did lose his fight just before that, and he hasn't actually fought since Shuriken Fight Series 17. So that was mid 2024.
Oh wow.
So so Rika's going to be coming in with a bit of ring rust. He very much could have been having some stand-up fights, but this is I'm just looking at his MMA record here. I think that one's going to be a high-level technical fight. That's how Maynard fights. What Maynard kind of needs to be working on is he's very much an athlete. And Eugene's told him that he needs to be more of a fighter. He needs more mongrel in him. And then next up we have Battle of the A's. We've got
Yo,
Angus
they're having an
Gordon.
A off, dude.
Angus Gordon versus Andre Farnell. The loser has to put their
Has to change it to B.
yeah. So we're gonna have either Bingus
Bangus.
or Bindre Farnell. So Angus Gordon fights out of Canterbury Fight Centre in Christchurch. Shout out Canterbury Fight Centre as it's being rebuilt.
I was just about to say, are they rebuilding?
They are rebuilding.
Do you know where he's been like training?
Out of a school. And I only know that because I saw footage of Dan Hooker hitting pads with Carl Webber, his old head coach, who is the head coach of Canterbury Fight Centre. And it was in a classroom. There's the desks in it and stuff.
They couldn't even get the gym.
I mean, depends what time they were there.
Can we use the gymnasium? No, you can use the geography class. Oh, okay. Good morning, 2B. Here we have Dan Hooker. Hello.
Writing the combinations on the whiteboard?
Yeah, exactly. Who can tell me what comes next in the pattern? It's like the chalkboard.
So Angus is coming in with a 2-1 record. He is coming in off a loss. He did lose to Mitch Kelly on Shuriken last year. Friend of both shows, Mitch Kelly.
Yes. The man that you went to Eternal to see.
I did, yes. I went all the way to Eternal to watch one fight. And so he is coming off a loss, but he has 2 wins before that. But he also fights kickboxing a lot as well. He jumps around. He's a code switcher. So obviously, someone who does that, stand-up specialist. And he is up against Andre Farnell, who is got a 3-fight win streak. He hasn't fought MMA since it's been a year. He fought exactly this time last year. He beat Gene Yedemich, and it was a split decision win. So tight decision. And looking at Angus's wins as well, a decision and a finish. So both of them kind of have a mixed win record. So it's hard to say, kind of predict what sort of fight it's going to be. But I do think it's going to be exciting, and I think it's going to be stand-up as well. So, I mean, actually, am I sure Andre's got an armbar finish? And so I think it's going to be a stand-up fight. Because they're just a couple of stand-up gentlemen, you know?
Just a couple of hard mongrels.
Hard mongrels. And that's just how it is in the Manuka Doctor Stadium. Now, moving on to the featured bout. Now, this is kind of what the whole event's kind of been set up around, from my understanding, because there's a fighter out of City Kickboxing named Nyreen Crowley, big, and it has a big MMA history in New Zealand. She was over in One back in like the late 2010s, and then I think COVID kind of derailed her career a bit. I think. That, and I can see here there's a 4-fight losing streak. So obviously that doesn't really help. Then you're on a bit, when you get a bit of a streak like that, you probably get a bit in your head, and you kind of wonder, should I kind of keep doing this? So she went from her loss against Jacinta Austin on Eternal 68, and then came back and fought again on the very first SFL 2 years ago. So this is going to be her retirement fight. This is her last fight. She's going to hang up the gloves. And so it's really cool and full circle for that to be happening on SFL, I think, when she was on the first one. So all the promotions very much kind of been around that. And super like big kind of personality within the New Zealand MMA, New Zealand women's MMA.
I'm a big fan of Nyreen Crowley. She's both in the cage and out of the cage. She's doing like media stuff, hosting, emceeing, post-fight, that type of thing.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, actually. So the main thing she does now is ring announcing and commentating and interviewing and stuff like that for our local scene here. So, and I believe she's really good at it too, which is awesome. So, I imagine after this fight, we'll see her going back to doing that again. And she is up against Colleen Bazooka Byron, fighting out of the Philippines. Colleen has coming in with a 2-3 record, and compared to Nyreen's 4-4. So relatively kind of even experience. There's no kind of blowout mismatch experience there. And Colleen is coming in with she's on a 2-fight losing streak, so she's coming in with something to prove. She's fought on UAE Warriors a couple times, so she is no stranger to the big stage of kind of this level of MMA. And I think this is the one that I think is going to get the big cheers going forward. But so yeah,
When a fighter kind of announces, "Hey, this will be it for me. Like this is going to be my last one," something like that is so interesting to me because it can go one or two ways. Because on one end, Nyreen may be looking at this like, this is the last one, empty the tank, put everything into this because I'm never going to do this again. Or she could be like, who gives a shit? I'm never going to do this again. And of course, you know, based off what we know about her, it's more likely to be I'm going to give it my all because it's my last go. But if there is those hardship moments, stuff like that is always very interesting to me to see if there is that kind of like, well, it's a bit tough. Oh, you know, it's my last one. But as sad as I am that this would be Nyreen's last walk to the cage, because I'm a big fan of Nyreen, I'm glad she's telling everyone. So everyone go enjoy it. And then
100%.
She won't be gone. She's not dying. She's going to, hopefully, I would assume she'll stick around doing the media stuff she's doing.
Yes, that I agree. It's a very interesting take. I can't see. It's like when people announce it, especially in the UFC. I love it when they announce it in the UFC because then they get a play package at the end of their career. So I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping they do that for her in some way or another. And onto the co-main event, we have Lucas Jaguar Silva versus Kieran Joblin from City Kickboxing.
The Stone Cutter.
The Stone Cutter. And we got Lucas Silva fighting out of Replay Thai, which I believe is in Brazil because he is Brazilian. And it says he's fighting from Brazil. This is a interesting one. Co-main event, flying in someone international. Obviously, Kieran Joblin is also the Hex lightweight champion.
Yes, sir.
Still reigning, I believe. But he is coming off a loss because he did take a fight in somewhere in Asia, I think. Yeah, Japan, I think. And so he lost that one via decision September last year. And so he wants to kind of prove that he's still got it. I don't know how much Kieran's got left in the tank. He is 37 years old now, and in the lighter weight classes, obviously, the older you are impacts more because of mainly speed and reaction time sort of thing. So this could be a case of like with Nyreen Crowley, where he could also be putting the gloves in. But I imagine he would. But when more I think about it, I imagine he would do that defending his Hex title. But yeah, no, big fan of Kieran. I was at a Spider on the weekend doing something else. I saw him training for his fight. He's looking really, really sharp. And Lucas Da Silva is coming in with a 15-13 record. And Kieran is coming in 28-16. So both veterans, they're both very experienced in the cage. But obviously, Kieran's got about another third on top. So
imagine having, what is that, 27 fights and being the guy who has less experience.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's insane.
And the perspective's crazy. And then we have the main event, old King of the Resurgence. We have, I'll start with the challenger. We have Alano Peso, I definitely fucking said that wrong, Andrade with a 9-5 record, coming in with a 1-fight win streak, and is up against the comeback king, Blood Diamond.
Yeah, Bloods.
Bloods is like one of my favorite kind of comeback stories in New Zealand fight sports history. Obviously, had a pretty bad UFC run, and then went on Hex, and then went on Beatdown, another two losses there, and then he went back to his roots. He just stripped it all back. He went back to King of the Ring. He was a two-time champion, and then he became the third three-time King of the Ring champion, following Israel Adesanya and Nico Lee Kingi, and he won them all by head kick. It was all a short day in the office. And then after that, he went and fought on Hex again, which I believe you were at that event, and
Yes, I
you
was.
spoke to him, didn't you?
Yes, I was so happy. I'd been at every MMA fight Bloods has had since post UFC. I might have even have been at some of his UFC fights. And
You're definitely at his Adesanya Strickland
yes,
fight.
I was at that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just hadn't got a chance to do a post fight interview with him, and then I was so happy just to get a chance to kind of speak to him post fight on camera.
And like everyone, like, because I wanted him to retire after King of the Ring, because I just narratively wise, legacy wise, I think that's an amazing story. And then he went to Hex, he won, and he's 37. He's going to be 38 in July. And what did he say to you? Till the wheels fall off.
So the wheels fall off.
So this man was absolutely born to fight. He knows nothing else, and I think, yeah, just shout out Bloods, man. Bring this home. Bring this home. Bring it home for the boys. And and that brings the SFL 4 card to a close.
Yes. Paddy, the set has changed a bit. You got some nice things hanging over both your shoulders.
I do. It is. I like to almost think my set is complete now. Like there's no kind of dead space. I might slowly like cycle out these stuff. The big cock cans are probably going to go. It's going to make my cameraman Will gutted. Got my Max Holloway sign thing. Broke that on the weekend. I think that's the reason Max Holloway lost the BMF, is because I broke the statue.
What happened? How did you break it out of rage because he lost?
No, I was like patting it, like I was like, "Come on, Max!" and I knocked it off the table, and it's got magnet wings on the back. The wings landed on the ground, snapped in half, and then the magnet inside of Max is dislodged. So I've glued it all back together, but it is a collector's item that's probably worth a little less now.
How far before the fight did that happen?
It happened during the fight.
You're like, he was winning, and then you did that, and you're like, oh, he got taken down.
Let's be honest, Max was never winning.
Damn.
Actually, no, I think the first 30 seconds he was up in volume.
Yeah.
And then I've got my signed Volk belt, and then leading up to one of my new pieces, my signed Volkanovski shorts
Australian
that are
hero.
from just Australasian hero, bro, for the Anzacs.
No, he's mainly for us.
All right, fuck you.
Izzy can be for both of us, and when Carlos becomes world champ, he can be for both of us.
No, if you're going to be like that, Carlos is a Kiwi and Izzy is a Kiwi. Africa, Nigeria gets a legitimate claim to him as well. But
yeah. And Australia too.
This is what Australians fucking do when Kiwis do well. There's like Australasian champion,
Yep.
Anzac champion,
Yep.
and then when it's when they
Aussie.
lose, it's like, oh, a Kiwi fighter.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you're like, can I claim Rob Whittaker? And even though he's born in New Zealand, we go, no, fuck off. No, he's ours. Leave him alone.
I did ask Brody Maoki, because he's been fighting out of CKB for so long, can we claim him as a New Zealand fighter? And he straight up told me no. So
but for real, he's an Anzac champ. Volk did a lot of his time over at CKB. I will not, legitimately, I will not be like,
yeah, all right, whatever, mate.
I promise.
Moving on.
We'll see how Carlos does, and then it may affect my
yeah. But that is a great tangent into my poster here. My signed UFC Perth poster. This is a special event for you and me. We were pretty much the only media there. Big event for you because you're the only one who got to post anything because my laptop fucked out. And we were staying together too, so I'm starting to get a little suspicious the more I think about it. But yeah, so special event for us as media personnel in Australasia, but also special because Carlos Olberg's first headlining event. But there were also 3 Kiwi fighters that debuted on this card. One, all of them are asterisks. Michelle Montague, who is a New Zealand woman, but she does train out of American Top Team.
The first one.
Predominantly. Very first, yes. So she debuted on this card. New Zealand woman.
Ever. The first one.
I told you stop being funny. All right, this is you're the good one, and I'm the funny one.
I had a Red Bull before this, so I'm like full of energy.
True, and I got to go to bed soon. I got to get up at 4 a.m. And then, but Cam Ralston and Brando Pericic also debuted on this card. Both of them are meaningful to my career as an MMA media because I interviewed both of them as they're kind of coming up through the local scene in New Zealand. More so towards the end of them on the cusp. But Cam Ralston was my very first interview that I ever did. So it was very special to be there for his debut. And I believe there is Navajo Sterling also was on this card, and I interviewed him when he was on the local scene as well. And that isn't obviously he wasn't debuting, but he was on the card. And City Kickboxing went 4 for 4. So yeah, and that was so I got those framed, and that cost me $1,100 to get both of those framed. Absolute fucking ludicrous.
That's awesome, dude.
But the glass is fucking nice, man. Like you look at it, and it doesn't even look like there's glass on it.
Now, moving on to Eternal 104.
104.
Eternal 104 will be live from the Gold Coast on Saturday. It will be at the Southport Sharks, which is kind of the staple location.
And will you be there?
No, I will not be there.
Because you've done a lot of them recently, so I thought maybe
I typically make the trip up to Goldie. I love being at the events. I love covering the events because that's what I love to do. Just not this time around, unfortunately. The budget isn't infinite. If any sponsors want to jump on board, that's always appreciated. But I don't have that infinite money glitch. They've patched it. They patched it for me. So I will not be at this event, unfortunately. I wish I would. I wish I was at every event ever. But unfortunately, I'm not. I'll be going over just the pro card, and then I'll be touching on a couple of the AMI boys. We have got, count it out with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 pro fights.
Say it one more time for me.
7 pro fights on the Eternal card, including one on the prelims, which is like, that's rare that they put a pro on the prelims. So that's cool. So the last one before the main card starts, your little free to air TV, free to air on your YouTube, free to air on your eternal.com. Pro fight at the end. Starting with the amateur bout between Jet Fisher and Alex Ponerius. I apologize. I never pronounce his name correctly. And that's my fault.
Amateur bout. Didn't you just say it's a pro bout?
It is pro.
You said amateur just then.
Did I just say amateur? Oh, I apologize. Yeah. See, this is what's going on, bro. I got so scared of saying his last name that I accidentally said amateur. It's a pro bout.
It's a Red Bull.
It's a Red Bull, bro. Jet Fisher versus Alex Ponerius. Jet Fisher is 2-2, fighting out of Primal Mixed Martial Arts in Victoria, Australia. Is he the only... No, I was just about to say, is he the only Victorian on the card? He's not. There's another one. There's another 2. Damn, bro, the Victorian takeover. Maybe I should go.
I mean, imagine how expensive flights would be this late notice.
I know, right? They were expensive when I was in Gold Coast last week. And that was booked on way further notice. Both guys are 2-2, so they're at very equal points in their career right now. Jet Fisher trains out of Primal Mixed Martial Arts under his father, Joel Fisher, and alongside his brother, Cage Fisher, as well as some other talent as well. It's not just... There are other people who fight out at the gym whose name isn't just Fisher. Yeah, that's allowed. Because I've asked before if I'm like, do you let them or no? Is it like you just change your name when you get to the door? And they assured me that you don't have to.
Or like you just have to fight under the name Fisher.
Yeah, exactly.
So your fight name, it's like having a stage name. Your fight name ends with Fisher.
Well, it's like what they were doing, what the Gracies used to do, where it's like Vitor Belfort used to be Victor Gracie.
I didn't know that was. I didn't know that was a real thing.
I don't know this because I don't know any of the Gracies. I assume it wasn't the Gracies telling them to do that. I assume that was whoever trying to steal some clout.
Yes, I thought maybe it would have been honoring his coaches or something.
Yes, exactly. It could be that as well. I'm not going to act like I know. Me, wasn't there in 1993. Wasn't alive. So I don't know that for certain. Jet Fisher, this is his return after he got very roughly leg locked in his last fight by Emrahan Hikamuglu after Emrahan Hikamuglu missed weight for the weight class above the weight class they were fighting in. So they were fighting at featherweight, and Emrahan missed weight.
He missed lightweight.
He missed lightweight. I couldn't tell you the exact number he came in at. I'm sure it's written down somewhere, but I just recall, I know he missed weight for lightweight. And straight ankle locked him, and I thought he would have snapped Jet's leg in half.
I just don't even know why Jet Fisher still took that fight. Like, that's just
Jet
sheer
Fisher
disrespect.
is a hard mongrel. He's a tough man. So it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me he took the fight. Do I think he should have taken the fight? Probably not. But it doesn't surprise me that he did it because he is a hard, tough man.
And so for Jet Fisher, this is actually Returnal 104.
Yes, this is Returnal 104 live
Flip
from the
it.
Gold Coast. That's the clip for this episode. Nice cheese joke, bro. Another thing about Jet is I don't know this. Another thing that I don't know. I don't know if this is certain. Jet is a father now. I don't know if he was a father at the time of his last fight. I think he was, because I don't think I've seen him since that fight. And the last time I saw him, I think I asked him how his kid's doing. But he's a young dad, so he's probably got that dad strength now.
He might get that dad buff, like when Charles Oliveira became a dad.
Yes.
And then he just went on his tear.
Alex Panaris is a 2-2 fighter. Started off his career very rough with 2 losses, but they are 2 losses to really good guys, Alistair Volters, Mason Nabetsu. He has since bounced back from those 2 losses with 2 wins. He got a decision win over Brandon White, and he got a TKO win over Lucas Cannon. Both in September and then November, so pretty quick succession at the end of last year. Backing it up now in March against Jet Fisher. He fights out of... There's a few gyms, there's a few people in his corner from what I can see on the old Instagram. But the gym there's a lot of photos from is UFC gym in MacArthur Square in, I would assume that's New South Wales, if I had to make an assumption.
And is he more of a fighting on eternal cards, or does he kind of get around on the promotions he fights on?
Based on what I'm looking at here, he kind of gets around. So this will be his second fight on Eternal. His 2 wins come on the Showdown show, which is in New South Wales. It is run by Brian Ebersol, UFC veteran, American guy who lives in Oz, and his UFC debut. His MMA debut was on Hex.
Right.
So gets to fight around a bit. I wonder if was Eternal 92 was in Sydney. So he's typically fighting at home, typically fighting in Sydney. So he gets a chance to travel again and fight. But throughout his amateur career, he went, He went 6-1 throughout his amateur career. He went 6-1 throughout his amateur career, picking up a bunch of wins, some by stoppage, mostly by strikes. There's a rear naked choke in there as well. And 1 loss by decision. But he ended off his career with a round 1, less than a minute TKO to win the Samurai Fight Series belt. So that will be that is our opening bout, the opening pro bout of Eternal 104, and it is on the Eternal prelim. So if you want to watch that one, you have to go to the Eternal website, eternalmma.com, and sign up. There'll be like a little thing. You put your email in, and then you can watch the prelims. Moving on to the opening bout of the main card. We've got Jordan Southern taking on Jesse Wynn. 2 really underrated guys, in my opinion. Jordan Southern, 2-0, 100% finish record. Both wins coming by rear naked choke. Fantastic mustache on him as well. Fighting,
it's pretty solid.
I know, it's really nice, isn't it?
You think he's gone for the Quill and Salkill thing?
I think it was off his own volition, but I do think that there is a benefit to having the stash. He is fighting out of Integrated MMA, a gym who I think is really having... They're doing very well recently on the regional scene. When I first got into the scene, I wasn't super aware of them, but that's because I'm growing in the scene myself. I'm figuring stuff out. But they've really kind of put together a lot of really good performances recently. Really got a good group of guys fighting all over Queensland on kind of different shows around. And they're really stringing some wins together. So a lot of momentum coming out of that gym right now. And Jordan Southern obviously looking to continue that with a 100% finish rate as he takes on Jesse Wynn. Jesse Wynn, a man who I'm a big fan of. I really like Jesse Wynn's style. Heavy boxing style, brown sugar, sweet with it, the sweet science. Heavy hands fighting out of Wolves Den, who his teammate is in the main event. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But Jesse Wynn is 1-1. Picked up a great win over Mitch McLaren, which we talked about before on Eternal 95. And then, unfortunately for him, suffered a TKO loss to Michael Allsop, which was a pretty intense knockout, but he's looking to bounce back. That was at Eternal 99 in October last year. That was like further away than I thought. I thought that was more recent. So hopefully he has recovered well and looking to put on a good performance in this fight. Jesse had he's a heavy-handed boxer, really slick striking. It's really nice to watch. He's just a guy I just love watching fight. His amateur career, 6-1, only split loss to John Aiello, who's a man that we both know, we've spoken about before. Stoppages.
Daddy Ravioli, shout out.
Daddy Rav.
Look, he got his bits out on your podcast.
He did. But yeah, Jesse Wynn, really entertaining. I think this will be a really, really good fight. Great way to open a card, in my opinion. Two really entertaining guys. The whole like grappler versus striker thing, but Jordan isn't a bum on the feet and Jesse isn't a bum on the ground, so it's not quite like there won't be fish out of water wherever it goes. But I think it's really, really good way to open the card because I think whoever wins it will be a finish. So I think it'll start the night off with some excitement, some heat, and excitement. Moving next up the card is Ran Deng versus Daniel Amari. Ran Deng is 1-1, fighting out of NTG. Is it NTG? Yes, it is. 1-1, fighting out of NTG. Same gym as the Tafa brothers.
Yes, in Logan.
Yes. Ran is a guy who, like, the story so far of Ran's career, which is funny to think that a guy who's 1-1 has, like, a story to his career thus far, but it's just been, like, no one wants to fight this guy. Like, it's just been, like, no one could fight him. What was his amateur career? He was 5-0 with 3 stoppages in 2 in the first round, 1 in the second, and then 2 decisions in there. They could not find kind of anyone to fight him. This fight was originally booked for June 21st last year. Evidently, something happened. Amari withdrew, and now they're getting a chance to not run it back, but to kind of make sure it happened. But Ran is coming into this off a kind of upset loss. He got KO'd in the first round by Yakut Hakimi, which was a big upset. You know, Ran is a very good fighter, and so that was a kind of a big surprise to a lot of people because Yakut wasn't really known to the scene and was making his pro debut. But I'm sure he's made the improvements that are needed, and he was very kind of self-reflective when I saw him out the back after the fight. He was very upset after the loss, as you would expect anyone to be after you lose. But I think he probably took a lot from that, and he's looking to bounce back against a man who is making his pro debut against Daniel Amari. Daniel Amari is 5-0 as an amateur. He's making his pro debut with 4 of those 5 coming by way of stoppage, 3 KOs, and a nice ass choke to win a belt in his last fight, which was in March of last year, March 16th. So nearly a year to the day, he will be making his pro debut after his final amateur fight. He fights out of Nitrix Fitness is what I have here on the Tapology. Let me give a quick squiz over to his Instagram account, and we'll see if he has any tagged gyms.
Tuano, who we just mentioned in the previous one, fights out of Nitrix.
Who does, sorry?
Tuano, who's fighting Nixon.
Oh, yes.
On SFL, I believe. I'm going to just go and double check that. But that's obviously that was the first time I'd heard of Nitrix. So, 1-0.
Yes, Nitrix out of Bankstown.
Yep.
Well, that's a very interesting thing. I think we talked about this last time because I think something similar happened. Splitting of the gyms. Not all the coaches can be everywhere all at once. They're going to need some team over in New Zealand, and they're going to need some team up on the Gold Coast.
True. I wonder who. I mean, obviously they got the head coach is going to go with the
pro. You would assume
the pro, yeah.
You would have to assume that. But yeah, fighting out of Bankstown MMA, Nitrix. I don't know why they have two different names. But yeah, I think this would be a really interesting fight, especially with a guy like Daniel who has got so much finishing power on the amateurs. I think this would be a very interesting fight. And that's at lightweight. So it's always good when there's some movement in the lightweight division because I really like the lightweight division. Moving on up the card, we have Ethan Mitchell taking on Val Sharipov. Ethan Mitchell is the kind of regional example for so long of the his record does not reflect how good he is. He had a loss to Taser Malone, a loss to Alistair Volders, who are two very good guys, then a really hard-fought win over Oscar Marlowe. It was the prime... Before the Oscar Marlowe fight, Ethan Mitchell was the prime, Jack Della started 0-2. That's what everyone said about this guy because of how good Ethan Mitchell is. Million pullouts as well throughout his career. He's just struggled getting opponents, struggled getting fights to actually happen. I had a great fight with Oscar Marlowe where I think both guys looked fantastic and both guys looked incredibly gassed. It was one where it was like, oh my god, whoever wins this earns the win. And then unfortunately, the bad luck continues where the next fight for Ethan was a no contest in the first round.
Oh man,
the cursed man due to an accidental foul. But he is out of Team Compton. Team Compton training with the guys like Tom Nolan, who's in the UFC. Dom Marfan, who is now in the UFC following his win on the road to UFC.
Street Buddha!
Yeah, the Street Buddha. Got a lot of love for the Street Buddha. Got a lot of love for Compton, Team Compton Training Center. And then guys like Blair Bratag on the regions, who's fantastic.
Straight out of Compton.
Straight out of...
Crazy motherfucker named Street Buddha.
Dude, crazy motherfucker named Ethan Mitchell. And he's taking on Val Sharipov, who is a featherweight out of... He's now out of Combat One. That's John McAuliffe's gym, D. Samasoni, who we're going to talk about in a minute. He has switched up gyms. He was originally out of Adrenaline MMA, which was down, kind of closer down to my way, southeast of Melbourne.
Down under.
Yeah, down under. Bum, 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 bum. That gym has since closed/rebranded. The owner of that gym sold the gym and has retired, from my understanding. And thus the building still exists and is still a martial arts gym, but it's now called Integrate MMA, I believe is what they're called. We talked about Integrated earlier. Now this place is called Integrate. And
that's not confusing at all.
Not confusing at all. And now Val has moved to Combat One, where he's getting rounds in with guys like Sem Kakembo, who is like a staple of the regional scene. I was fortunate enough to watch some of his rounds during this camp, where he's looking really good. John McAuliffe, who I mentioned before in the UFC, undefeated in the UFC, just choked out.
Yes,
Oban
he
Elias.
did at UFC 325.
Yes, and so he is 3-1, 2 submissions, 1 decision, and then the one a loss to Alistair Volders, who is going on to do very cool things in one championship at the moment in his career. So not a bad loss to have at all. But this is his first fight since October 2024. This is his first fight out of Combat One. I'm not going to say I always love when a guy switches gyms, because that sounds weird, but I love the opportunity that it presents. I love the idea of getting to see how he's improved, especially with so much time off. It's not like he moved to Combat One. He's like, okay, I've done one camp. He's had time to really sit in Combat One, absorb a lot of information. And I'm really interested to kind of see what the next step for Val is, and I think Ethan Mitchell's a great opponent to kind of test that against.
And he would have been changing gyms anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Considering his gym got sold, so it doesn't really exist anymore. But yeah, so I think that's a fantastic fight, and I'm excited to look at it with my eyes.
Now, I've got a question coming up about this next fight.
Please ask
I will
away,
let
King.
you. It's probably better to do it after you've talked about who it is. But it's about one of the people in this matchup.
It's about. I'm not going to guess who it's about. I'm just going to let you ask it. Alfred Stoddart taking on D. Samasoni in the welterweight division. Alfred Stoddart, who holds a professional record of 5-5, with how many of those fights happening at middleweight? A pretty good percentage of those fights happening at middleweight. Last one was a welterweight. He's coming off a win. He's coming off a TKO win over Max Kelly, which was at welterweight. Prior to that, yep.
I was going to say, that's great entry into what my question was going to be. I was going to ask, do you know why he dropped down to welterweight?
So he was a middleweight. I don't know exactly why, outside of the fact that he's a big, muscly man. But following his loss to Cam Rouston, I was backstage with him and I talked to him after that fight. And he said to me, I just have to go to welterweight. The boys at middleweight are too big. I just assume it was like I don't know how much he cut to make middleweight. I don't know if he needed a big lifestyle change, meaning maybe he wasn't eating the cleanest. I don't know any of that. But maybe he just didn't cut a lot. I don't know. But evidently he felt I can go to welterweight. The boys at middleweight are just a bit too big for him. So he has had everything aside from 2 fights have been at middleweight. He's had 2 fights at welterweight. One was a very quick loss to Jackson Weir-White in his welterweight debut, and he bounced back from that with a fantastic looking performance. Like, he looked fantastic over Max Kelly in a fight where he changed his nickname from the Maker to the Breaker, and he kind of talked about how that was a significant mental shift that he's made about, like, I can't be giving these guys space. I can't be going in here with too much respect for these guys. I think more or less is what that kind of boils down to. I don't know that for certain. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, he's coming off a big win, riding a lot of momentum, new weight class for him. And he's fighting D. Samasoni, who is 3-0 as a professional. All wins, 2 wins being by stoppage, 1 win being by decision. His last fight was in December 2022. Doesn't feel like a year since I've seen D fight, that's like the strange thing that it has been. And then his last fight for D was booked for May of last year. And then he had a punctured lung and was rushed to hospital. Very scary times.
Did that happen during training?
I think it happened like on fight week.
Oh, that's fucked. That poor guy.
It was very short notice against Candiata, because then Chile stepped in for D, knocked out Candiata, and then got the opportunity against Darcy Vendy. But so it's good to see D back. D's a guy who's kind of on the regional scene, got a lot of promise. And this is a rematch. They fought in the amateurs with Alfred Stoddart coming away with the win. But that was in 2022. It's been many years. So I'm sure D's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder trying to get the win back. D is a very chill guy. I don't know if he even thinks about stuff like that. But anything to add to the fight, I'm sure you use it. And, you know,
it makes me real excited.
It does.
Because they're very different people. You can't really plan, like, saying, like, you can't go in like saying, oh, I beat this guy last time, because he is definitely not the same person.
No, it was years ago. He's coming back off an injury. It was a weight class up. Like, it is completely different. And I think the Eternal Welterweight title is vacant at the moment after Dave Martinez signed to the PFL and he vacated the title. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like for them at the moment. I think there's a lot of space for a lot of people. Something that was proposed was like a tournament. Like, hey, we'll do a Grand Prix. I think a win here for either guy kind of puts him in a very good place for a welterweight title. Particularly D, obviously. If D's 4-0, that's a very attractive record, so it kind of puts him in a good space for a title opportunity. But I do think this fight has good title implications, because I think I could see the winner of this fighting either like a Sam Miles if Sam's healthy, or a Nate Law now that he's coming off another win, that type of thing.
And obviously, Stoddard is also formerly the Shuriken Fight Series middleweight champion. So that's kind of how I know he used to fight at middleweight. And I think also the first time I started doing post-fight interviews, he was the main event. And he fought John Varkey. And it was the most boring main event I've ever seen in regional MMA. Basically, It was just John just was it was in Coast Guard the entire time, which was interesting because last time I thought saw Stoddard fight, he had a first round knockout. Um, but yeah, lovely guy. His coaches warned me that be careful when you're interviewing him because he can just keep talking.
He is a lovely guy. He does love a chat, but that's what we love about him. Great Reddit account as well. I see him. He pops up.
Read it.
Yeah, he pops
Deep
up.
dive.
He pops up every once in a while on r/MMA. It'll be like, "Hey guys, weighing in here. I'm the black guy," and then all the comments are like, "Let's go, motherfucker!" Like he's got like fans on Reddit, which I think is fucking awesome because no one uses Reddit as a social media. So to get the Reddit support, I think is genius. And coming up for our co-main, we have Lonnie Philly Mohala taking on Andrew Mills. This is a rebooking of a fight. Andrew pulled out of the fight with an injury. I think they were originally slated for Eternal 102, I believe. I think they were 102 the night before UFC Sydney, and then Mills pulled out. Mills pulled out, I think, the day after or the day of me posting my interview with Lonnie. It was like horrific timing. It made me want to die.
That is actually when we get to the end. There's something I want to mention because I believe there's been some fight changes to this card as well.
There
correct?
has, yes.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that at the end because I feel like there's another kind of interview thing that I thought was interesting.
Yes.
Because it wasn't quite the same situation, but do continue.
But yeah, so this Andrew Mills is he fought a lot a while ago. His last fight was lost to Joseph Luciano in December of 2022. Joey obviously then goes on to be in Bellator and PFL. He's like a real staple of the welterweight division on the regional scene. He's also before he's lost to Joseph Luciano, he had a loss to John Varkey as well. But if you look through Andrew Mills' career, which is I said this in my kind of interview with Lonnie. So there is an interview with Lonnie about this fight. It's just from like months ago, but you can like it's still we talk about the same. It's the same fight. But if you look, he's kind of fought a who's who on the regional scene. Joey Luciano, John Varkey. He's got a win over Corey Nelson, who was the gentleman who head kicked Volk on the regional scene. He's fought Matt Vale, Izzy Fitakefu when he was an amateur. It's just like the murderer's row throughout his career. Yeah, big shout out to Matt Vale. We love Matt Vale, the Viper.
Matt Vale, Corey MMA.
He was meant to fight Kit Campbell. Like it's just this.
Wow, he really has gone through the who's who of regional.
Yes, he is like murderer's row of guys on the regional scene. He has a record of 10-6, fighting out of Parosh, Team Parosh, who is under Anthony Parosh, former UFC fighter, Australian UFC fighter, one of the kind of OGs of the UFC game. And Lonnie Philly Mohala, so he's 10-6. Lonnie Philly Mohala, 3-2, had fight of the year last year against Quinn Kelly. Narrowly missed out for the Southern Cross Combat Award to Nate Law versus Sam Miles. But Quinn Kelly versus Lonnie Philly Mohala was also a great fight. He's coming off a loss against Connor Downey from November 2025. But he's looking to bounce back with a win here. And I think a win here for Lonnie also then puts him in title conversation as well. That's why we need a Grand Prix, is because it's like there's so many guys who are like could be fighting for the belt that I think we just do a Grand Prix and do a tourney, in my opinion.
I feel like we don't see enough of those in MMA anymore.
No, the last time Eternal did one was for the featherweight belt.
We have like King of the Ring here, so we have knockout tournaments and Grand Prix often. But
I wish we could do.
MMA.
We can't do in Oz. I don't think the commissions would allow one night tourney anymore. But the last one I remember for an Australian promotion doing a one night tournament was Eternal doing one at Eternal 50, and it was in New Zealand, so they could get away with doing it.
Come on back, Eternal.
Yeah, let's solve this welterweight crisis over in New Zealand, especially if Nate Law's on the card. That would be that would be big.
He would love that. Very very apt. Anyway, we'll talk about Nate later.
A fantastic grappler. Lonnie is training out of Ignite Martial Arts and Gamebred Academy under the great Ryan Dunstan, because Dunstan coaches at both of those gyms. Great, fantastic grappler. Really good grappling. The three wins are all stoppages, all rear naked chokes. Got great grappling, very high level grappler. And then he had 18 amateur bouts as well. He did IMAF a lot, or Gamma. He did IMAF and Gamma a lot. Man proudly repping Tonga as well. All this stuff we kind of cover in that interview from months ago, so you should go watch that. Type in on my YouTube channel, Lonnie Philly Mohala, and it's the most recent one.
You can put cards in.
I can put cards in. Click up here. Or there. I think it's up here.
I always get it wrong, eh?
Yes, I just go like this. I go up here, and I do both. Which brings us to our main event of the evening for the Eternal MMA interim featherweight title. Kevin Cophamel taking on Justin Van Heerden. Justin Van Heerden. Interview with Justin would be out by the time you're watching this as well. I did an interview with Justin ahead of this fight. Click up here to watch it.
He loves to do an interview with you, eh?
Bro, every time we do an interview, he goes, I'm just extending my lead. He has to be the person I've done the most interviews with. Big fan of Justin. Big fan of Kevin as well, although I've never done an interview with Kevin. But Justin Van Heerden, staple of the regional MMA scene. Former Eternal Featherweight champion who never lost his belt. He vacated his belt. God, how many promotions has he held or fought for belts in? He's fought for the Hex belt. He defended the featherweight Eternal belt a bunch. He fought for a light heavyweight belt. He fought for a lightweight belt in Hex as well. He holds the Coastal Combat belt. I refer to it in the interview. I say it. He is kind of the standard for regional MMA. His last fight was against Jesse Swain, a 2-0 fighter at the time, who called out Justin. He's like, hey man, I don't give a shit that I'm 2-0. I want to fight you because Justin is the standard. If you want to know how good you are, you fight Justin Van Heerden.
And this was on Eternal in Sydney, right?
Sydney, yes. So this is a kind of a quick turnaround for Justin, especially because there was a period of Justin's career where he had like ages off. They just couldn't find him a fight. But he is fighting again. And he's fighting Kevin Cophamel. Kevin Cophamel, a man who in back-to-back years has won Fight of the Year awards from Eternal MMA. He is also the winner of the Fight of the Year for 2024 when he fought Harry Webb in a barbaric fight. Go watch that fight. He lost via split decision. He went up a weight class on short notice. That fight's like barbaric. Go watch it. It's on YouTube. They put it out for free on YouTube because of how crazy it was. And then he came back and had a great fight against Akeithion Whitner on Eternal 99, where he won by decision. That was in October 2025. Now it's March 2026. He's fighting Justin Van Heerden. He's fighting at a Wolves Den, same gym as Jesse Wynn, which we talked about earlier. Wolves Den, fantastic gym, with a good kind of lighter weight classes. You know, like a lot of lighter guys can get some really good work in there. I'm not sure if they have too many guys over. They've also got like welterweight Alden Bates out of there, but I'm not sure how many kind of bigger bodies there are. So you know he's getting good work in is the point of me bringing any of that up. You know Kevin's in there getting good work in. But this is for the interim Eternal Featherweight title because the current champion, Seb Saleh, he was in the Road to UFC tournament. He lost in the finale in a fight that he was winning. And so they're kind of waiting to see what's next for Seb. If an opportunity arises or if he comes back to the regionals. So this has been put on kind of hold.
I was going to ask why it was an interim featherweight belt if you didn't touch on it. So that makes a lot more sense. I didn't realize Seb Saleh had it. Yeah, I mean, he had such a cracker fight in the UFC. A lot of people in the room were saying that they think they should both get contracts.
I mean, I think it was Bisping on commentary said it.
Oh, there you go. Obviously, I heard it somewhere. Might not have been in the room. So I guess, yeah, watch the space, right? When you have a former UFC, he's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure. And like backing you like that, like I like your odds.
Absolutely. So that's a very interesting matchup. Obviously, then the outcomes of that is super fascinating. So there's a win for Kev Cophamel. He becomes 4-1. Interim champ. He could possibly unify with Seb if Seb is not going off to other things, and that would just be a great fight. But then the really interesting thing, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I don't care. I'll still mention it. I'll just plant the seed now because then we can talk about it maybe in a future episode. Justin Van Heerden wins, and he could unify with Seb Saleh, a man he used to train with. Seb Saleh was at Freestyle MMA up until his second fight on the road to UFC when Seb moved back home to Perth and trains with Luistros with Quillan Salkeld, Cody Haddon. So that makes for a very interesting storyline, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But those are kind of the stakes, bro. These are some heavy stakes. But they will be your main event for interim featherweight gold. Kev fighting out of Wolves Den, Justin Van Heerden fighting out of Freestyle MMA. You know who Justin Van Heerden is. He trains out of Freestyle. He trains with Colby Thickness. He trains with Alexander Volkanovski. He trains with Jamie Malarkey. And I've heard from per sources, doing well in the gym. Very motivated for this fight as well, is what I've heard, which is very good to hear. And Kev always shows up and is always ready to fight. So this is a fight I'm very much looking forward to. And that brings us to the end of all the pro fights. Before we move on to a little chat about the amateurs, there's one more thing.
I was just going to say this wasn't the original main event, right?
I think this would have ended up being the main event, but I think the co-main would have been different.
Right, and the co-main would have been Nate Law.
Yes, so Nate Law was originally meant to be on this card, fighting Jong-Hwan Lee out of South Korea. Unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, Nate made a post about how his opponent had gotten injured, and thus the fight had been scrapped. They were looking for him for an opponent, but I think the last time I spoke to him was like fight week, and he's like, I think I talked to him on Saturday, and he was like, it's not going to happen. Which is frustrating, because I like watching Nate Law fight.
Yes, I do too. And obviously he's getting a bit more momentum now after his loss to Sam Miles.
Yes, he had a loss to Sam Miles, bounced back with that with a big win over in China.
But I was just going to say, when I alluded to that interview thing, so Toby from Heavyweight MMA released his Nate Law interview after Nate had announced that he wasn't fighting anymore. And I couldn't see in his text anywhere that he addressed that the fight was no longer happening. I didn't look properly. He may have, so I just found that a little amusing.
I talked to Nate about this. I don't believe Toby was aware. And like Nate had to text him and be like, hey, just so you know, the fight's off.
Oh, right. So Toby went through the exact same thing you went through.
Dude, it sucks so bad. Sending love to Toby. We all love Toby. Toby's a great man. I feel your pain, brother. It sucks so bad. You're like, cool. Well, goes all my time and effort onto something that's not fucking happening. The good thing, though, is that... the good thing about when I do interviews is that like a percentage of my interviews about the fight, but a lot of my interview is also just about the guy. Toby is really good at being very technical, and Toby's got kind of a really good mind for the fights. So that actually makes it rough, because Toby will ask really good, interesting questions about how people match up against each other. Whoa, we got the time machine, dude. This is us from the future.
Do you know what's crazy is I was like, how are we going to do this? I'm going to have to go get my old clothes out of the wash. We got to wear the exact same thing.
I debated that, and then I was like, nah, I don't care. I think I am wearing the same t-shirt. I don't even remember. But
I mean, I'm wearing my glasses that I'd take off for the podcast episode. So
yes, and the beard looks
I just
longer.
wanted to be more like you. Go put on your squared up hat, and we can be exactly the same.
Either I'm about to, in this episode of the podcast, say that a fight is going to fall out, and we don't know which one it is. We now know which one it is. It is Pie Cook. His opponent, Joel Hogan, is out of the fight, and he's being replaced by
Zion Perry, who was supposed to be the main event of Shuriken Fight Series 23. How serendipitous.
Dude, it's all in the same universe. The MMA universe.
So we spoke about Zion on our Shuriken Fight Series 23 episode. And after that, the fight fell through with his fight with Tama. So his fight on Shuriken Fight Series, him being Zion Perry, the boogeyman, was going to be his MMA debut. So Zion is a kickboxer through and through. He's got 26 kickboxing fights, 9 of them by knockout. Got multiple championships. The main one being he's a very recent King of the Ring champion, which is a 8-man knockout tournament in New Zealand. It's basically the prestigious Higher the High combat sports production and show we have in New Zealand, and a lot of our UFC successful UFC fighters, I mean, in fairness, even unsuccessful ones, have come through that as champions, and a lot of them as double champions or triple champions. Israel Adesanya, triple champion. Carlos Ulberg, double champion. Navajo Sterling, double champion. Bloods is a triple champion now. Dan Hooker is a champion as well, and there was one other one who was recent. I believe there was a 6th one, and it's bugging me that I can't remember, but for brevity's sake, I won't dwell on it. So yeah, so we decided to do an additional bit to add in that the former main event of our last episode is now going to be taking place in this episode, which is just really cool. And I'm stoked that Zion put in all that work to still have a fight and not kind of just, it's like, oh, cool, I've peaked, I'm feeling ready to go, and now I've got to sit here with my thumbs, twiddling them. So, and we get to see what he's going to be like in an MMA setting, which is super exciting. We know how well like Izzy kind of came through with his kickboxing specialty, even up against, did he really go up against wrestlers? Anyway.
Yeah, Izzy got pretty heavily grappled in his last fight before he made the UFC against Stu Dare.
So yeah, there you go. So you can make the kickboxing still work.
And not only that, just a general correction that is, in all, absolutely my fault. And so I'm now putting this correction out there. This fight was always going to be pro. I said that there was going to be one amateur fight on the prelims, one pro fight on the prelims. I lied. 2, I didn't realize that Pi Cook was going pro. So this will be a pro fight as well as it being a kind of semi-short notice for Zion Perry. Short notice for Pi Cook, I suppose. Short notice opponent swap. But I apologize earlier throughout this episode. We've said there's 7 pro fights on this card. There's actually 8. And I hope none of the other ones are pro because I didn't even think to look for that.
And so this is the one where you said they were looking for a low-level pro, high-level amateur.
Yes, well, I would assume this is that fight, yes.
Oh, right. You never actually said which one it was.
No, because I didn't know. And
yeah.
I didn't realize that when this fight was Joel Hogan versus Pi Cook, it was a pro bout. I did not realize that.
It hasn't been switched up.
No, it hasn't been swapped to a pro fight. This fight, I believe, was always meant to be pro.
And is Pi Cook, is he Māori?
Yes, he is a proud Māori.
Well, Pairiki, it sounds like a Māori name, and he's got a tamoko on his arm.
He walks out repping the proud. He walks out with the flag. The Māori flag.
Yes, the Māori flag, yeah.
Yes, the Māori flag, repping Sunshine State Wrestling, which is a nice gym up there on, I'm going to assume it's the Sunshine Coast based on the name Sunshine. In Burnley. They've got kind of really strung together some good wins recently. They've been having some success. It's kind of a newly formed gym, and Tom Nolan goes there sometimes. I know Tom Nolan stops in to do some wrestling training around there, as well as some other fantastic guys out of that gym that look for a fight. Tim Moore retired, and he's now I think he's coaching out of there full time. Tim Moore recently retired, who was like a legend of the regional scene.
Something else that's worth adding, because you mentioned where the gym was. Zion Perry fights out of Warrior Training Academy, which is in Wellington. So on the New Zealand scene, there's not a lot of fighters who fight outside of Auckland. Kind of the only few that come to mind, especially in the pros, Fergus Jenkins, who fights out of Christchurch, and Mitch Kelly, who fights out of Dunedin but does his camps from CKB. So I do see him in Auckland every now and then. So it's exciting to kind of have another outside of Auckland pro MMA fighter. And I've kind of feel like, in saying this, I am very worried that I'm missing people, and I've offended people if they see this. But Fergus and Mitch are the ones that come to mind at the moment.
Tapology says that the Joel Hogan Pi Cook fight was going to be amateur. I don't know what to believe. The Instagram post doesn't say that the Joel Hogan Pi Cook fight was going to be pro. This one is Pi Cook versus Zion Perry is pro. That is all I can know about it, because the Instagram does not say if the original fight was going to be amateur or pro.
So you were never wrong.
Exactly. I was never wrong and I was never right. I was somewhere in between. Okay, now back to the rest of the episode. Back in the time machine. But just a quick scan of the amateur fights as well. Chris Power taking on Aiden Todorov. Aiden Todorov, the Southern Cross Combat Amateur of the Year last year. He had some ungodly amount of fights and some ungodly amount of wins. Although I'm not sure if that fight is happening, because Cam O'Neill, the face who runs the place over at Eternal, put out a post saying that they were looking for a replacement for either a high-level amateur or a low-level pro to take a high-level amateur or a low-level pro at featherweight or a bantamweight to step in on short notice. I would then assume that's because this will be Aiden's probably last amateur fight, and if they can't fight him an amateur, he'll take a pro who's maybe had 2 fights. That would be my assumption. Making some big assumptions there, but that's kind of what I would assume is going on. Or maybe Aiden's out and Chris is doing the same thing. But Aiden's really good, Chris is really good. Watch that fight. And Robin O'Neill, daughter of Cam O'Neill, sister of Casey O'Neill, and her own woman in her own right. I'm not just going to describe her by the people she's related to. She runs her own business. She runs Proving Grounds, which is having their event the night before this. Proving Grounds 8, a great amateur show, is having that. So she's going from running a show, and the next night she's fighting. I do not envy her in any way at all. But the great Robin O'Neill will be fighting Clara Clark. I'm fascinated to see how she goes. Always love Robin. Always love watching Robin fight. Always love watching Clara fight. So that's a good fight I'm interested in watching. And Joel Gerard taking on Harrison Machete Bennett. That's epic if his last name is actually pronounced Machete. I don't know if it is, but I'm going to start calling him the Machete. And that's at welterweight. So 4 amateur bouts and 7 pro bouts. And that does us for Eternal 104.
Big weekend for MMA across New Zealand and Australia.
Yes, a lot of stakes, a lot of interesting things, a lot of guys starting out and making their own movements, and a lot of guys like a
lot of guys being dudes.
Just a lot of guys being dudes, and a lot of guys like a Kieran Joblin or a Blood Diamond. And it means kind of like what is next for like a lot of those guys. So it is a big interesting week end of MMA around Australia and New Zealand. I will not be in attendance, unfortunately, at Eternal 104. Best of luck to everyone fighting. Best of luck to everyone running the show, because I know running shows can be hectic. But will you be at SFL?
I am planning to be at SFL, yes. I haven't heard much from the team there. They reached out previously saying for my email for stuff like media releases and stuff like that, but I haven't heard anything, which isn't uncommon. It's not the first time I've been through this. I'll just turn up on the day with my equipment at one of the gates and be like, hey, I'm media. Maybe flick them a message the morning off, and we'll make it happen. We'll wing it.
And 2 final kind of topics from us. We didn't do it for last show, but we typically pick what we think will be fight of the night. But you were at attendance at Shuriken 23, which was what the last episode was about. How was Shuriken 23?
It was good. It was very, very good. Obviously, when we do these interviews backstage, you don't get to see a lot of the fights, but a lot of first round finishes. So I missed a lot, and I had to go back and watch a lot. A lot of they went hard on International Women's Day, all the women's fights, the 3 women's fights on them, absolute wars. The first one, which was Yasmin Knight versus Renee Kosh, 3-round battle. They both had absolutely beaten up faces. Then Drop Bear versus Brooke Pritchard.
Banger fight.
Was a cracker fight. A lot of blood too from Brooke Pritchard. Got her forehead split open, I believe, in the second round. And then, but had some crazy submission defense. And then in the end, Danielle got her with the triangle and the armbar. My critique of, I think Danielle just wasn't, cut the wrong way at one point, wasn't hooking the leg too. So I think she was just struggling to get that triangle in.
Hell yeah.
So
mansplain
and,
on international.
And I know Danielle's going to watch this, so she's going to send me a message saying either you're right or what the fuck do you know?
She's going to say, thank you 1-0 amateur for mansplaining my fight to me on International Women's Day.
That makes it even worse, hey, the mansplaining.
On International Women's Day. She's a 3 weight division champion.
And the main event was Makajin versus Te Hana Hana, and that was a first round finish, I believe, maybe second. Bloodbath, absolute bloodbath. I thought the other one had a lot of blood. This one was they were both absolutely covered in it.
I'm gonna go watch that fight because I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
of
it was Maka was just raining down elbows from her Muay Thai days, and just absolutely destroyed Te Hana Hana. It was one-sided, and which is great for Maka, because obviously there's a bit of controversy on her last one, and this one's undeniable. So,
and how did the men do?
Men did good. Did a lot of first
Yeah,
round
go,
finishes.
man.
Ollie Schmidt, 15-second KO with a
Oh,
spinning back
yes. A
fist.
friend of mine sent me that. That was sick.
Brody Maoki, just absolute masterclass as the co-main event. Who else kind of stood out? Jack Cameron, the only title fight, he won on via split decision, so that one was touch or go. And yeah, it was and a lot of new up and comers as well, which was cool. Some people interviewed some people I haven't met before, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Excellent. And yes, so then our predictions for what we think will be fight of the night per show. What do you think will be fight of the night on Stealth Fight League 4?
On Stealth Fight League, I think fight of the night is probably going to be maybe Nixon Clark. Nixon Clark. I work with that guy. Nixon Suttons versus his opponent, or potentially. Okay, some of these amateur ones might be absolute bangers, or the heavier boys. They might be absolute wars, like just slugfests. That might be exciting. But I think Blood Diamond, I think, if might make it super exciting. One with a head kick, hopefully.
That would be exciting. And for my prediction for Eternal 104, I think Jet Fisher is never not interesting. Like, Jet Fisher is always an entertaining fight. But I will officially predict, I think, Ethan Mitchell versus Val Sharapov, I think, will be fight of the night. That will be my prediction.
Prediction.
Alfred
Who did you
Stoddard
say
and
was the
Samosini.
rematch? The Stoddard versus Samosini.
Yeah.
I'm think it's going to be that one.
Yeah, that will also be good, I reckon.
And that brings it to a close. This episode of Across the Ditch. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate the support, especially kind of the feedback we got from last week. It's actually really cool to hear people are watching. Because really, Joel and actually I do this for each other, just to kind of keep each other educated on the scenes going on in our respective markets. But yeah, if you please go subscribe to both our channels, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and comment, like, subscribe, all the cliche stuff you have to say, and we appreciate you following along on our MMA media journeys.
We absolutely do. Kakete.
Matewa.